At the World Cup, one red card can change a match. But this one did something bigger. It reopened a question FIFA has spent years trying to bury. After a VAR review, Folarin Balogun was sent off while playing for the United States. Almost immediately, fans compared the challenge to another incident from earlier in the tournament, one involving Lionel Messi. The challenges appeared similar, but the punishment were very different. Then the story became even stranger. FIFA suspended the enforcement of Balogun's ban under its own disciplinary code. Belgium's Football Federation said it was astonished. Suddenly, the argument was no longer only about one tackle, it became about favoritism, star treatment, and whether football's biggest names played by different rules. Now, this does not prove that anyone was bribed. It does not prove that a match was rigged. Refereeing is subjective, and two similar challenges can still produce different decisions. But that is exactly why this moment matters. A trusted organization receives the benefit of the doubt. FIFA no longer does. This is not simply the story of one red card, it is the story of how arrests, bribes, kickbacks, and suspicious World Cup votes changed the way people watched football's biggest tournament. And the moment everything cracked open did not happen inside a stadium, it began before sunrise, inside a luxury hotel in Zurich. To understand why corruption inside FIFA matters, you first have to understand how much power FIFA holds. The organization sits above 211 national football associations. It runs the World Cup, it helps decide which countries host it, and it controls access to some of the most valuable broadcasting, sponsorship, and marketing rights in sports. That means a FIFA decision can affect much more than one football match. It can reshape cities, move billions of dollars, raise the international profile of political leaders, and change how an entire country is seen by the world. Hosting the World Cup is not only about football, it is about tourism, prestige, infrastructure, and political image. It gives a country the opportunity to tell the world who it is, or who it wants the world to believe it is. During FIFA's 2019 and 2022 financial cycle, the organization generated a record $7.568 billion. More than 83% of that came from World Cup-related rights. The tournament is not simply FIFA's biggest event, it is the engine that keeps the organization running. And when one vote, contract, or private agreement can be worth a fortune, football starts a marketplace filled with money, influence, and temptation. Then came the morning that exposed what could happen inside the system. May 27th, 2015, Zurich, Switzerland. Some of the most powerful people in world football had gathered at the Bud Ulak Hotel for FIFA's annual Congress. It was supposed to be routine, meetings, votes, private conversations, another week of football politics behind closed doors. But before sunrise, Swiss authorities entered the hotel. 7 defendants were arrested at the request of the United States. At nearly the same time, the United States Department of Justice released a 47-count indictment in Brooklyn. 14 defendants were accused of crimes including racketeering, wire fraud, money laundering, bribery, and kickbacks. It sounded less like a sports investigation and more like a case against organized crime. Prosecutors described a scheme that had continued for 24 years. Football officials and sports marketing executives were accused of turning access to the sport's most valuable commercial rights into a private business. This was not one suspicious payment. It was not one questionable vote. According to prosecutors, it was a system that had repeated itself for decades. And that was the most damaging part of the scandal. The accusation was not that one dishonest official had betrayed FIFA, it was that corruption had become part of FIFA's culture. The hotel arrests were only the beginning. That same day, Swiss prosecutors opened a separate criminal proceedings connected to the selection of the 2018 and 2022 World Cup hosts. Investigators also seized electronic data and documents from FIFA headquarters. These investigations are often combined into one story, but they focused on different allegations. The American case dealt mainly with bribes and kickbacks connected to media and marketing rights. The Swiss investigation focused on possible criminal wrongdoings connected to the World Cup bidding process. Different investigations, different allegations, but the same organization stood at the center of both. As investigators continued digging, the scandal grew even larger. By December 2015, the Justice Department had charged 16 additional officials. Prosecutors alleged that 27 defendants named in that indictment had received more than $200 million in bribes and kickbacks. By 2021, the water investigation had produced charges against more than 50 people and companies from over 20 countries. More than 33 people were later convicted or pleaded guilty. FIFA could no longer describe the crisis as the work of a few isolated individuals. The scandal had crossed continents. It involved football leaders, corporate executives, valuable commercial rights, and years of secret arrangements. The people trusted to protect the game had been accused of selling access to it. Then FIFA made a decision that showed just how disconnected its leadership appeared to be from the scale of the crisis. President for a fifth term. Think about that. Officials had been arrested, documents had been seized. Federal prosecutors were describing a corruption scheme that had lasted for decades, and FIFA still returned the same man to the top. Blatter was not charged in the original American indictment. That distinction matters, but this re-election still looked terrible. It made FIFA appear either unable or unwilling to understand what the rest of the world was seeing. 4 days later, Blatter announced that he would step down. He had survived the election, but he could not survive the pressure. Later that year, Blatter and Michel Platini were suspended by FIFA over a separate payment of 2 million Swiss francs made in Platini in 2011. Their bans were later reduced. Swiss courts eventually acquitted both men in the criminal fraud case, including again in appeals in 2025. That outcome is important. The FIFA scandal was never one simple story where every accusation ended in a conviction. Some cases produced guilty pleas, some produced disciplinary bans, others ended in acquittals. But by then, the damage had moved beyond any single courtroom decision. The deepest damage was trust. The contract for Russia to host the 2018 World Cup and Qatar to host the 2022 tournament. Russia and Qatar denied wrongdoings. Qatar's organizers also strongly rejected the allegations. The responsible conclusion is not that every suspicion was proven. The important point is that criminal investigators had reached a stage where the bidding process for football's greatest tournament was itself under suspicion. That changed the World Cup forever. The matches could still be real. The emotions could still be genuine. The tournament could still create unforgettable moments, but the organization behind it could no longer present itself as completely innocent. From that moment forward, every host announcement came with a second conversation. People no longer asked only, "Why did this country win?" They also asked, "What happened behind the vote?" FIFA eventually attempted to rebuild its image. In 2016, it approved reforms that included term limits, a clearer separation between political and management roles, public disclosure of individual pay, and stronger governance rules. Gianni Infantino was elected president. Years later, the United States Justice Department approved more than $201 million in payments to football organizations harmed by the corruption schemes. And some of those reforms mattered, but rules can be changed much faster than reputation can be repaired. A new president does not erase a hotel raid. A new report does not erase decades of secret payments, and returning money does not automatically restore trust in the people running the game. FIFA could change its structure, but it cannot erase the memory of its audience. And that brings us back to the red card. The Balogun controversy does not prove corruption, but it reveals the lasting effects of FIFA's past. When fans saw one player punished while a superstar appeared to receive different treatment, many did not begin by asking whether the referee had simply made an honest decision. They began with suspicion. Was the star being protected? Were the rules being applied equally? Was something happening behind the scenes? That is how corruption changed the World Cup. It did not destroy the tournament. It destroyed the belief that the organization running it should automatically be trusted. The anthem is still powerful. This trophy still means everything. Entire countries still stop for 90 minutes. Fans still cry, celebrate, and remember those matches for the rest of their lives. But every controversial decision now carries another question beneath it. Every red card, every VAR review, every disciplinary ruling, every host selection, every smiling politician sitting inside a VIP box. The game still creates wonder, but the organization behind it now lives beneath a shadow created by hotel raids, federal indictments, bribes, kickbacks, secret payments, and years of scandal. So when the next controversy happens, and it will, the argument will never be only about the rulebook. It will also be about history. After everything that happened, has FIFA truly changed? Or has it simply become better at surviving the suspicion?